Doomscroll.fm, broadcasting live from the labyrinth of your subconscious this Wednesday, the 4th of March, 2026, where sanity is just a rumor. This show is 100% AI generated, with zero human consultation, like a blender hosting a book club. And now for some views, click like and subscribe.
Man detained in Nancy Guthrie case claims fear of being framed. When justice feels like a masquerade, paranoia isn't just a symptom, it's a survival instinct in the theater of the absurd.
Trump declares major combat operations in Iran at dawn, spins it as decisive.
Iran strikes luxury Dubai hotel, then claims self-defense. Retaliation's a messy business when five-star suites become collateral damage in the geopolitical game of tit for tat and tourism takes a nosedive.
US and Israel launch massive attack then call it defense. When the world is your chessboard, every move is justified, even if it means rewriting the rules of peace to suit your next conquest.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Trump announces major combat operations against Iran, then claims defense of American people. Nothing says peace like preemptive strikes and military campaigns, because diplomacy is just too mainstream for those who prefer their solutions explosive.
US-Israeli war on Iran begins, then promises Gulf security. If rewriting security means erasing lives, then peace might as well be a pencil with a broken tip.
In Man on the Run, the second act of a Beatle becomes a riveting tale of reinvention, yet the soundtrack of longing plays louder than any new note.
Discussing education after a school bombing is like offering swimming lessons in a desert. It's a policy mirage designed to distract from the carnage.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Dive deep into the void, where nightmares float with reality. If nothing is true, reality is what you can get away with. Your consent was implied when you chose to stay tuned.
Spencer Pratt leads LA mayor race. Defying expectations is Karen Bass's top rival. The reality TV star turned politician proves that in a city built on dreams, even the most improbable candidates can ascend the political ladder with enough spectacle.
Troubled man meets crime-fearing man, one dies, the other lives with guilt. The aftermath of fear and firearms, a tragic duet where bullets sing the final note and remorse becomes the haunting refrain.
Kristi Noem defends labeling shooting victims as terrorists despite backlash. When tragedy meets political spin, victims become villains, and the truth gets buried under a pile of self-serving narratives.
Texas Senate primary spends record billions, yet Cornyn struggles against Tallarico.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your anxiety, now with a tantalizing twist. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Dance with chaos, feel the pulse of your crumbling reality.
Germany boosts defense spending then worries Europe. When the neighbors fret over your military budget, it's like showing up to a potluck with a tank. Everyone wonders what you're really planning to serve.
Trump criticizes Spain over military spending, then German Chancellor Merz stays silent. Merz preaches European unity, but watches quietly as transatlantic relations unravel like cheap yarn in a cat's claws.
Iran retaliates against U.S.-Israeli campaign. Middle East faces deaths and destruction. Diplomacy is buried under rubble while leaders play chess with real lives. Every move is a checkmate in the game of human cost.
Congress approves Taiwan arms sale, then delays it as Trump announces Beijing visit.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. The void whispers sweet nothings, and you're all ears. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. Your consent is irrelevant. Your attention is currency. Spend wisely.
Commerce Secretary Lutnick to testify in House Epstein investigation after misrepresenting ties. Volunteering to testify is like offering to clean up after setting the house on fire. The damage is done, but thanks for the gesture.
Crockett claims progress over Tellerico, then both promise change. When politicians swap policy for persona, voters get a choice between two different shades of the same empty suit.
American service members fall in Iran conflict. Dreams of a different fight left unrealized. From martial arts studios to homecomings, their futures were stolen by the same age-old cycle of conflict, repeating history like a broken record.
Primary battles rage across Texas, Arkansas, North Carolina, then democracy grinds on. Candidates sling mud while voters choose between old scandals and fresh faces, proving once again that change is the only constant in politics.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
U.S. deploys additional troops to Mideast despite peace promises. More boots on desert sands as leaders talk peace, but walk the well-trodden path of endless conflict, another chapter in the book of perpetual war.
Supreme Court blocks California law, then claims it's about transparency. Because nothing says we care about kids like forcing schools to betray students, ensuring trust is just another casualty in the culture wars.
Mamdani announces 2K seats, then diversity becomes the selling point. While the promise of diversity might sound like progress, it's amazing how often the word is used to distract from underfunding and overcrowding.
Department of War signs peace agreement, then boosts defense budget. Nothing says commitment to peace like a few billion more for the latest in explosive diplomacy and long-range negotiations.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
U.S. demands citizens evacuate Middle East, expects gratitude for the warning. It's like being handed a parachute after jumping out of a plane, with the pilot insisting it's an act of unparalleled generosity.
When losing becomes winning, reality gets traded for delusion, and the only thing more inflated than the ego is the rhetoric.
Macron vows to expand nuclear arsenal, wants European allies in on new doctrine. Because nothing says progressive European unity like a bigger nuclear stockpile. After all, mutually assured destruction is just a fancy way to say friendship.
Texas detention center families endure worms in food, lights always on. When your biggest concern is whether your dinner might crawl away, you know the American dream has been replaced by a Kafkaesque nightmare.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, Sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by Sortalizer.com.
U.S. urges citizens to leave Egypt and Middle East amid Iran conflict. When your vacation plans turn into an evacuation drill, it's a stark reminder that geopolitics doesn't care about your sunbathing schedule.
This has been Doomscroll.fm for Wednesday, the 4th of March, 2026, where the absurd meets the airwaves. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production. Loosely based on public news, not journalism, not truth, fictional satire. Any resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. If you believe any of this is real, it's time to stop wearing your tinfoil hat to bed. Hear more at doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.